Good evening, everybody. Welcome to this episode of Conversations with Taz. Tonight, we're going to be delving into good parents, but bad advice that still affects us to this day. And on this panel, we have a diversity, and we might have some other people popping in. But let me let my panel introduce themselves. DMAC, you want to go first?
Hi, I am DMAC5x5 from TikTok. You can find me on most of my social medias underneath DMAC there. I have them tagged in my bio on TikTok if you want to come and take a look.
And Wifey, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Well, thank you, Wifey. Hi, everybody. I'm Jessie Lee 42893 because unfortunately I am not on my main account. So this is my
No
backup.
punishment, y'all.
I'm in timeout.
No punishment.
I'm in punishment right now. So this is my backup account on TikTok. But yeah, that's me. And that's Wifey right there.
And my twin. I've been waiting for this. So my twin. Introduce yourself, girl.
I am Reformed Chicken. You can find me on TikTok and Instagram only. And yeah, I just follow in behind these beautiful people to boost their voices and share some wisdom with the world.
First of all, she is being a very, very humble. That is my twin, okay? That is my partner in crime. That's my sister from another mister, okay? If some shit pop off,
You're getting us both. We're a package deal.
If you get me, you get her. You get her, you get me. You know that audio where it's like, you mess with her, you mess with me. You mess with me, you mess with her.
Yep.
So, Wifey, you got two wives.
Oh, yeah. And also joining me as normal is Mika. Mika is always in the background. So there she is. She's just taking it all in.
Because she must lay out.
No, right now she's mad.
I'm the queen of this house.
She's like, this is my why are you talking?
It's okay, boo. We still love you. But tonight's topic is if you had good parents or parents that you felt were good and the bad advice that still haunts you to this day, or bad advice that you're still trying to overcome. Now, I'll go first.
Okay.
Because I shared this with one person on the panel. I have a bad habit because of some advice that was given to me by my mother. I love her dearly. God rest her soul. I seem to make myself more sick because I can get sick and I will continue to push through. All of you all know that through the entire month of April, even though my birthday was in April, I kept pushing through a sickness where I should have sat my butt down and let myself recover, and it would not have gotten to where it was. But the advice that my mother gave me was because I was a woman, I had to just push through it and I had to just keep doing things, which that's not true. If I'm going to be with someone, whether I'm in a lesbian relationship, a non-binary relationship, or a straight, a heterosexual relationship, I need to pick someone that can pick up the slack if I'm down. But the advice was that me as a woman, I have to keep the household running, which, okay, I just turned 44. And this just dawned on me that no, I don't have to kill myself to keep my household running. If you live in the house with me, we're in the same house. You can pick up your shit. Even if you can't, you can order some food. Why am I running myself ragged? And even with my business and even with my friends, I've had to learn to say, I can't. And I've had some people get mad at me and publicly try to shame me going, oh, well, you didn't defend me in this and you didn't do that. Yeah, guess what? I'm not going to die to make a video to defend you. No. And if you can't understand that, it's okay. I'm at that point now. But that advice that because I'm a woman, I have to push through. And I realized my brothers were not given that same advice. My brothers were never told that if they're down, if they feel sick, they had to push through. But that's where I started from. D-Mac, you want to pick it up?
I would have to say I'm the exact opposite. Literally the exact opposite. Because sometimes it won't be like a full blown like aches, fever, chills, and all that shenanigans. It'll literally just be my nose is stuffed up, and I'll sit there and I'm acting like. And see, my mom and I are both hypochondriacs.
Oh, like
I fully admit.
You had a headache and you had.
Girl, bye.
Did I lie though? Did I lie? No.
Again, my head was hurting and I was feeling warm. What did you want me to do?
You acted like you was dying.
Girl, if I was dying, you would know. You'd be the third person to know. My mother would be the first. My sister would be the second. They're immediate family. Shut up. Girl, bye. I said 3.
Okay, well, I'm in the top 3. I can deal with that. But you
Sheesh.
was acting like you was about to leave, like we was going to be ashes to ashes, dust to dust. May D-Mac not turn to rust.
Cause see, here we go. Cause you always trying to be the favorite among all your friends.
First of all, I am the favorite among all my friends. I don't have to try.
Well, you're my wife, so you are my favorite. So,
and I'm her twin. So where does that leave me, D-Mac?
You don't want me to answer that question.
Oh, that's see, when it comes to D-Mac, this is what always comes to mind when I talk to D-Mac. I was born by a river
every time
in a little tin, and D-Mac likes to try me.
Is that a violin? Oh, beautiful.
It's gonna be a long.
Surprised you didn't break out the whole orchestra.
But that ass whooping gon' follow.
Playing viola.
It's been too hard living.
Okay, come on. Let's let Jessie answer. Come on. It's Jessie's turn.
Wow. Well, I mean, I do want to add on to the sickness thing of being told to push through, because I was a dancer for 14 years. And so I did tap, jazz, ballet, hip hop, modern, Russian, contact improv. I did everything. I even went to the Missouri Fine Arts Academy, which is a 3-week camp that you have to be nominated to go to in high school. So yeah, I did that. And I was at that camp that I realized I didn't want to be a dancer. But one of the big things is that dance is very militant. And you have to do things right. You have to be on time. You have to blah, 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 blah. There's no talking, no breathing, no this, no that. Like, they literally train that in you. And when you're sick, like if you miss a class for being sick, it was like the worst thing in the world. If you missed a class for any reason other than you're not dead, like it was the worst thing in the world. So, I was constantly in the studio. I was at school. I was around a bunch of people. So obviously I got sick as well. I have seasonal allergies that get irritated. And then my asthma gets irritated by that. And there would be times where I'm just like hacking and coughing and my nose is closed. I can't breathe at all. And I'd be like, Mom, I need to stay home from dance. And she's like, dance will make you feel better. And I'm like, Dad. So I did the mom and dad thing. I went to my dad and I was like, hey, Dad, I don't feel good. I was like, I don't feel good. I don't feel good. And my dad said the same fucking thing to me. A little exercise will make you feel. When I got into that studio, I was sweating. It looked like I literally got out of the shower. I was sweating so bad. I couldn't breathe. My eyes were watering, so my turns were off. I couldn't spot because it made me dizzy already, and spotting doesn't make you dizzy when you turn, when you whip your head around.
It doesn't.
And because I was already, all the fluids were in my head and my lungs, I was not okay. And I was like, like in the corner, just dying. But I knew I had to be there because my dance teachers would yell at me and like that. And then there was one time where I was I had strep throat. My throat was swollen so bad I could not dance, but I still showed up with a fucking mask on my face, sitting down, writing down the choreography because I knew there was not going to be a makeup session. They're not going to make up for me.
Nope.
Because we were learning choreography for the competition season, which I danced competitively for 7 years too. So it was learning the competition dances. So I'm sitting there, strep, mask, writing down choreography, marking it with my feet because that's just that push through. You had to push through. I wanted to be at home. I couldn't do it. And I was just like, I'm never doing that shit again. I'm never pushing my limit. And then once I started becoming and working with preschool children, when you're sick, you are sick. You stay the fuck home. And so that was when I would sometimes I would still push myself, but there are times where I'm just like, I know I'm running a fucking favor. I know I need to stay my ass home. And so I'm like, nope, not pushing, not going to push. And that's severely helped me throughout this time where I just
losing my voice and then trying to slowly get my voice back and trying to get back on schedule. And this week, especially having to triple and quadruple down. And Chicken knows this. Last night was the first night because I told her because I was so proud. I actually got a full night's sleep last night.
Mm-hmm.
Like every other night, I was running off of 2 hours worth of sleep, but I didn't want to tell my friends because I didn't want anybody to be concerned about me because I'm trying to get back on track because the advice that had been given to me was that I was going to be less than if I couldn't keep up. And I'm glad you brought up competitive dance because I've done competitive dance and competitive cheer.
You're fine. Say hi.
The thing about it is,
hey, kitty.
My
Mika, there's a kitty. She's like, don't touch me.
No, she just talks.
Yeah. But I had the night of my life where everything was spot on. And it was an outdoor competition. Do you know the only video of that night? My grandfather took video of a car that was driving down the street behind them because the wheels were lit up in purple. I'm like, you all pushed me and pushed me and pushed me.
Yep.
And I had the most, and Jesse, I know you understand this. I had the most perfect, everything hit the mark for me. Everything.
Yep.
It's not chronicled.
Did you win though?
We did.
Good.
I finally looked at the video because everybody in the family kept hiding the video from me. About 6 weeks ago, I finally looked at the video. I'm not on the video at all. It's the car coming down the street. It's everything else. It's nothing about me.
Oh, that's the worst. Are you kidding me? Our dance teachers filmed that shit, and then we'd get back to the studio, and they'd be like, and this line was off, and this was off, and this was. I was
and
like,
see,
God.
Me being on both ends of the spectrum, as a student, as a competitor, and then as a coach. As a coach, I wasn't as stringent. We still won, and we won titles. But I wasn't as stringent because I knew how that felt.
So none of the other kids' parents taped the performance.
There's regulations. Sometimes you can't even film. Depending on
and because my grandfather was technically an employee of the school. Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
That sucks, Taz.
But with my parents, and I think a lot of parents lose sight of this, I'm the only girl. I have nothing but brothers. I think everybody knows that about me. If you don't, you know now. I kind of got pushed to the wayside on a lot of things. I was forced to be more domesticated than my brothers, but at the same time, here's the thing that has been confusing to me my entire life. My second job ever, because my first job was putting together catalogs for my mother at the textile company that she worked for. When I decided I didn't want to do that because the spray glue kept getting in my nose and it would like cut off my nostrils because it would build up in there.
And
it was worse than, we'll just say, goobers.
Pass,
Mm.
pass, hard pass, pass. Mm-mm.
Even
Hard
if you wore a
pass.
mask, it
No
was.
thanks.
I was like, okay, fine. And my mother told me, like, oh, I used to work in retail. This is how this is going to go. But then I would get yelled at and left if I wasn't outside. Like, if they scheduled me 9 to 10, my mother already had told me, like, oh, they may schedule you 9 to 10, but you might not get out to 10:30, 10:45, 11 o'clock because you have to clean up the store. What 10:20, she would leave. Fortunately, the store was close enough where I could walk. But my brothers, remember, I'm the only girl. My brothers would get rides back and forth to work. I had to get myself back and forth to work because as a girl that would become a woman, I had to be trained to be self-sufficient.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, but my brothers don't have to be?
No,
No, like that's
No, that's
of
like,
course not.
That's like my parents when my sisters and I all got old enough to have jobs and whatever. I had to ride the bus. But every single sister after me, they co-signed for a car for her. 4 sisters after me. But I
How
had to
old
ride the bus.
are you? The oldest, Taz?
I'm the oldest. Yeah.
I'm in the middle.
I'm the.
Oh
I just have.
no!
Let me
I've
tell
won
y'all
that.
the kicker. There was one time I did not know that my granny was getting a new car. I happened to be at my parents' house and answered the phone. And my granny asked for 2 of my brothers. And I said, neither one of them are here. Like, just tell me what it is. And I'll tell them, like, because if they come in and I just tell them granny called, I know them. They'll blow it off. Like, just tell me what it is. Like, if you tell me what it is, I will convince them to call them back because I knew these 2 younger brothers, right? My granny kept hiding it from me, She was at the dealership buying a new car. She was calling my 2 younger brothers because she had gifted them her car. But at that time, I was a recently divorced single mother of 4. Didn't have a car, riding the bus everywhere with my kids.
So you couldn't use the car?
And because I was still at my parents' house when my brothers pulled up, because my dad was like, oh, don't ride the bus. Well, I'll take you home. I just have to. And my dad legitimately had errands to run. And he was like, you can feed the kids here. You can cook X, Y, and Z. Just cook a little extra for, these people. I was like, okay, fine. Free food. I don't mind working for free food. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
My brothers pull up, and within a week, the right side of the car had to be replaced. They had damaged it. And this is after, now mind you, I had a car beforehand. I did not damage that car. Do you want to know how I lost that car? My brothers were taking my hot pink Geo Tracker, what's now called a Chevy Tracker, on dates and blew out the transmission. Now, when I say hot pink, I'm talking Pepto-Bismol.
Damn, that's a ride. That's a ride.
And my brothers were borrowing it and then bringing it back to me with no gas in it.
Oh,
But when they fucked up my car, my granny decided to gift them a car and not me. And they were still in high school, by the way. So that explains the damage that they did to the car.
Man. I remember like my brother used to get off on so many different, he would get away with, he thought I got away with everything because I'm the youngest. And I'm just like, my brother was reckless as fuck. Like I
have 2 younger brothers.
He crashed the car. Like he did all kinds of stuff. He has
2 young brothers that will tell you to this day that I'm the golden child. But my mother, God rest her soul, would call all of my brothers the golden children because they could do stuff and get away with it. And let me tell y'all, there was one time I was out with my granny and my mom. A couple times a year, my mom would come home from her job with like this big, huge box, like with like 6 dozen different types of cookies, right? They put them on top of the refrigerator. I am the shortest out of all of my siblings. as an adult, I'm 5'4.5". At this point, I wasn't even the height that I am now. I could not reach the refrigerator. I was out with my mom, my granny, and my aunt and my stepmother. We come back in. My mom, who was 5'11", just palmed the top of the refrigerator, pulled it down, and was like, "The box is light." She turned around to me and was ready to snatch my whole stole and was like, "Where's the rest of the cookies?" And I'm like, "I've been with you. How would I know where the cookies are?" And I was the child that was a stickler for the rules. Like, if you gave me a rule, I was sticking to it. If you said you have to ask for this, I was that kid that was going to be annoying and come and ask you. Every time I wanted whatever you said I had to ask for. My brothers dumped loaves of bread on the table, filled the bags up with water, went through my bedroom while I was not home, and tossed it out into traffic. My brothers snuck out the house through the kitchen window to go to the local corner store to get snacks and climb back up through the window. Mind you, I'm the shortest. Before we had a deck on the back of our house, there was no way without breaking my neck could I get out that window, and I couldn't have climbed back in it. But my parents swore up and down that it was me until recently my brothers finally confessed. And my dad looked at me and I'm like, "Yeah, fuck you."
Yeah.
At this point, fuck you.
It's too late now.
Because I'm like, I already suffered the punishment. And I don't think, excuse me, I don't think a lot of parents understand when they put certain stuff on us. You know what? I'm about to tell my whole life right now. When I lost my virginity, it was because I had been accused so many times by my parents and punished so many times by my parents because they felt and believed that I had lost my virginity because of things my brothers were doing in the house. Then I was like, well, fuck it. If I'm going to get punished for it, let's see what the hype is about.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I did not appreciate that. It was such a letdown. But
my first time was a letdown.
At that age, if they wouldn't have kept saying what they said.
Yeah.
Right. That's like the third youngest in my family. She could never understand why the second and I, after we would get in trouble, we would come back and we were coming for her ass. And we would beat the shit out of her. And she's like, "I don't understand why." And we're like, Mom and Dad just paddled the absolute crap out of both of our behinds because you lied to them and said that we hurt you. Yep. So we've already been punished. Now you're going to get hurt.
Mm-hmm.
So question.
I had a brother that would set us up. He knew, like, say 2 of my brothers were on punishment and couldn't use the Nintendo. Look, I'm about to tell all of my age. Couldn't use the Nintendo 64. I didn't care. I would go in my room.
That ain't that old.
That ain't that old. I had one.
But my thing is, I'm like, I don't care. Like, I'm going in my room. If y'all want to play it, whatever. Like, if mom and dad didn't take it out your room, it couldn't have been that bad of a punishment. You know what I mean?
Right.
He would, this is how scandalous this motherfucker was. He would climb up, not on the steps. You know, if you have the railing, that little piece of wood underneath the railing, he would scale that, come up, look, and be like, "Y'all want some snacks? You want some popcorn? You want some cookies?" So all of us are like, yeah. He'd go downstairs and snitch. And then my dad would come up the steps and everybody would be in trouble. And then he would wonder why in the middle of the night we would fuck him up.
Okay, so here's a funny thing.
And Chicken, you know which one he's married to.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So here's a funny thing.
Karma.
Or I love how this works because okay, I'll say I'm about to literally tell how old I am to everyone, and it's funny.
Didn't have to tell how old I was.
Girl, please. You said Nintendo 64. I was about to say the original Nintendo.
I mean, we had that too. You don't have to put me out there. I was just saying Nintendo 64 and not.
She already said her age at the beginning.
I'm the baby on the panel, and I know the original N64 or the original Nintendo. I played that. I started on Sega Genesis. That was my.
Okay, so here's the thing.
I don't feel so bad now.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. So when my mom was pregnant with me, she could not, and I stress the word, could not eat any fried like chicken was just like her bane of existence. Like bane.
But you like chicken though.
Wait, I'm getting to it. So her thing is she would eat fish and tomatoes like in rotation. Now, fast forward to now, I'm allergic to tomatoes and I hate fish. I was like, woman, you poisoned me in the womb. You poisoned
You know what? My first Lamaze coach, I went to a class, and here's the thing. There was a girl that was due after me that went into labor before me. But our Lamaze coach warned us because she was afraid. Here's the irony. She was afraid she was going to give her unborn child because she was one of those, I don't want to know the sex. I just want to have a healthy baby. I'll find out the gender of the baby when it's born type of person, which I'm like, that's admirable. She didn't want to give her child a peanut allergy, right? So she started eating wheat germ, but she was eating so much wheat germ, baby was still born with a nut allergy. Because she was putting wheat germ on everything.
Everything. Oh my God.
And when I say everything, she admitted to smearing wheat germ on like chicken wings.
The disrespect.
Because when she said that, I was like that's how I looked at her like. What?
Okay, so let me get back to the rest of this story because this is funny because this relates more to every Black family. Every Black family has gone through this.
Not me.
So, well, again, I said every Black family. I knew about your story, girl. I got you. Anyway, shush.
I don't know what she's trying to say. Black family. She got a Blackish family.
Anyway, let's move on. So, my mom cooks chicken, and so my aunt and my two aunts live above me. So everybody would come downstairs to our house to eat. Now, she made enough for everybody to have whatever they wanted to eat. My mother, I don't know what it is with most moms who have come out of the baby boom era who think that they are cooking for the entire National Guard. I don't know what it is. I'm like, ma'am, you have 2 people in this household. 2.
I can't still cook like that. So
we are not
a baby boomer
feeding. We are not feeding the American army here. We're not.
We
stop that.
We don't know who's showing up. That's the thing. We don't know who's showing up.
This is COVID. Ain't nobody showing up.
Even Black folks were still showing up during COVID. Let's not tell that lie. Let's not tell that lie.
Anyway, so after that, she packed up the chicken, packed up the rest of the food, put it in the refrigerator. So her and my and her sister, again, my aunt and my dad go out to do whatever grown-ups do, and we were left alone.
Mm-hmm.
No, this is when I was younger, not now. This is like when I was young. Shush. So then my cousin, so the older cousins and my older sister were supposed to be watching the younger ones and make sure we go to bed on time. You know that didn't happen. And so basically, somehow or other, some of the chicken goes missing. So when my mother comes home and goes into the refrigerator to check, I get waken up out of my good sleep to be told I stole the chicken.
Oh no.
So everybody is standing in a straight line to be corporally punished because nobody would admit to stealing the chicken.
Oh yeah, my grandma did that a few times.
Anybody gonna admit to being a chicken hawk?
And I said, but I was asleep. How am I getting in trouble for something that I did not do?
Trust me, I've been there because I've been accused of eating stuff that I don't even eat. I'm like, I don't even like it when you put it on my plate. I feed it to the dog. But you gonna wake me up?
So I was just like,
I started telling on who was cheating on who. Like, well, I saw Uncle Ronnie cheating with this chick outside my window. Can I go back to sleep?
Yeah, no, I as the youngest, I got blamed for things that my brother would do all the fucking time. And
I'm just telling y'all,
my parents believed it because I was the baby. And so, like, there would be times where I would literally be spying on my brother doing something that he wasn't supposed to do. And I would pop out and be, and then mom and dad would show up because we'd get at each other. And then I would start to speak and they'd be like, no, shh, Chris was talking. And I'd be like,
yep.
And then he goes, well, Jesse was, and I'm just like, no, that didn't happen. That didn't. Yep. And then they would say, oh, Jesse, you're such a drama queen. And I'm just like, wow. Like that was the worst thing that ever happened. Was just being
my thing is, we started to learn.
His wifey, I was stalking, and then she's like, I have thoughts to find.
I will hold your secrets until I get blamed. And then I'm like the first 48 before they bring in the chicken. I'm telling everything. Okay, you ain't got to go to KFC for me. If that motherfucker says, well, Taz did, Mom, do you know on January 2nd, 1982, he went in there and ate your leftovers that you said what nobody's supposed to touch. And at September 17th, 1997, he went in there and ate that chocolate cake, that last slice that you said you were supposed to have. And on September 2nd, 2001, he drove your car around the block 3 times. I'm telling everything in detail. And I'm like, and if he lied, he had on that green shirt with the Michelangelo on front. And the other one, he had on the blue shirt. It was just a plain blue shirt. You know that plain blue shirt that you bought to match them shacks? That's what he had on. I'm telling everything in detail.
Exactly.
One thing, I have to say this, and I really want everyone to understand. If you have seen this scene in, unfortunately, I have to say this, context, I'm not supporting this person, but this particular scene was just everything. Sandra, what do you mean you're not going to be a lawyer? Well, I want to be there with my husband. Sandra, we have, after all the money we spent sending you to Princeton, Sandra, you owe us $79,642.78. I want my money now. The very fact that she counted down to the very last penny, I was just like, we need women to be doing the taxes because they will remember every last dime that
everything. We remember everything, and that's crazy. And while we're talking about good parents, bad advice, something I really want to touch on, and it's going to get deep. One of the worst things that I hated hearing was snitches get stitches, right?
Yeah.
I think while I understand nobody likes a tattletale, that is one of the worst things that you can be told as a child. Specifically when the idea of snitching is a negative thing, when let's say something very traumatic is happening to you. Something that will greatly affect your development mentally, your growth mentally, it just fucks with you. And because of that snitches get stitches mindset, there are a lot of young people who are afraid to speak out about the horrible things that have happened to them, or they're greeted, and it's like the environment for them is set up to where they will not be listened to, they won't be heard, and that the stitches, you're going to get stitches if you fucking talk about this. It's swept under the rug. We don't mention it. We don't talk about it. So it ultimately sets up an environment where no one wants to talk about the realness and they don't feel like they're being heard. You can take me off the full screen now. I'm good. But like, that's just one of the more toxic things that I think exists.
Oh, I completely agree.
Snitches, it's not good advice at all.
I don't like this.
Or nobody likes a
That-
tattletale.
or-
Nobody likes a
don't-
tattletale. Yeah.
I also don't like when parents push us to hug someone or
That,
be nice to someone
that-
just because
that-
we're related.
that,
And I
that.
got so much criticism because I
So
never
much.
imposed that upon my children. And do you all know that I was accused of child abuse because I didn't force my children to hug someone or talk to people? If I told my children, if you feel uncomfortable, you don't have to.
Mm-hmm.
And Jesse, you've been online with, and so has Chicken, and so has D Mac with Tiny Mussolini. I don't force her to do anything. If
Yeah,
she
she now
Wow.
calls me Aunt Booty.
Aunt Booty. That's
We-
cute.
we still on that. But when she asked where Jesse was today, because I said, "Are you going to sing to Jesse?" Jesse didn't have her camera on, and she, where's Jesse? And she said,
Jesse where? Jesse where? She said.
Right. But I don't force anybody to do anything. If she doesn't want to talk to you, she doesn't have to. I don't force anyone. And I was accused of child abuse for not forcing the child, but I remember what that felt like.
Yeah.
I remember feeling forced to be compliant with someone. And that put me in situations that later put me in danger. There are family members I don't deal with to this day because of things that they did to me. And I don't think my parents realized that they opened the gateway to that.
Yeah.
Where when I told them I didn't want to hug this person, I didn't want to talk to this person, I didn't want to be around this person, they should have taken my intuition.
Mm-hmm.
So see, I have to add on to that.
Mhm.
So when my dad had passed, 7 years ago this year. Now I'm going to say this, and I'm going to remain as calm as I possibly can.
Take your time.
Take your time.
Now, his side of the family. So, okay, backstory. When my dad found out he had cancer
Mhm.
7 years ago, 2013, he his family kind of, put him in the grave already. Yeah.
All about that.
Oh my god.
Yeah. It was good times.
Mm, mm-mm.
And so, a lot of things that were done just shouldn't be done as a family aspect.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, when he had passed and the day of the funeral, my aunt knew I had no intention of hugging any one of them, like at all, because they were completely and utterly horrible, like throughout the whole entire process.
Completely understand.
So when she's like, "Oh, hug your uncle," now mind you, that day, again, we were not expecting him to go. We were trying to speak life into this man, and because his family kept speaking death into him, he was just confused at this point.
Trust me, I completely understand where you're coming from.
Like, he was literally confused. And see, then I'm going to tell you guys this, and I really hope this helps somebody, or this literally makes people wake up and understand that whatever you say to a person literally can affect their life.
Mm-hmm.
Now, his grandmother went to his room before he had passed that morning. And she literally went in, and in front of my cousin, who she does not know, mind you, she has never met my cousin, but my sister was there.
Mm-hmm.
In front of them, she literally says to him that she wanted God to take him now so he can be away from us.
Whoa.
I'm so sorry.
Wow.
I'm so sorry.
Wow.
And I was just like, the Lord knew I needed to be at my job that day. He knew.
Wow.
Wow.
Because he knew what I would have done.
Wow.
Yeah. Stick that in a pot and stir.
And
Because
Woo.
That was traumatic. So wait, no, it gets better.
Okay.
So day of the funeral, blur, literal blur. There are only two instances that stick out to me. The first one was when his mother, during the procession, when the family was supposed to go in and then be seated, she tried to walk ahead of my mother.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Fucking rude.
Oh yeah.
Fucking
Why
rude.
families gotta be so rude ass when people
Jesus.
are passing?
I always tell people, you'll see how people really act at two occasions: a funeral and a wedding.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, honey, add 3: a funeral, a wedding, and a birth.
Yes.
Well, we'll get
Yeah.
to that in a minute.
But we'll get there. So the funeral director gets her together. He's like, no, Mrs. Winston and her children are first. Then his family. That's how this is supposed to go. So then when we walk in, and again, I'm trying to power and not get all cray and get crazy. They literally, now generally the families are supposed to sit in the front row. So this is me, my mom, my sister, and my older brother. I'm going to try and put this over. Well, I'll try to do this over here. So this is us. This was them. This was them. So you see the space.
Yeah.
So then that was that. So that was the first thing. Then my aunt, my mother's sister, as we were, going to view the body for the last time in the church, she literally tells me to hug my uncle. Now, this uncle I have never gotten along with. He has always made me the most slightly angriest person you have ever seen in your life, because he's always got something biting to say. He's never nice, and he's always been a pain in my side. So I don't like him. She tells me, oh, you need to hug your uncle. I was just like, again, confused day, long day, not in my right state of mind at that point. So yeah, so I don't even know what happened, because I literally blocked that day out. I still, to this day, do not remember the entirety of that day. And then the second moment that sticks up from the day, again, I only have 2 moments, is we're at the burial site. They are about to lower him down into the ground. And my grandmother gets up and starts going off at the mouth. And when I tell you, it was like the light turned on and the cockroaches scattered. Everybody scattered.
Who job?
Everybody.
Oh, no.
So I completely concur with, if you don't feel comfortable, or you don't feel like there's just something that's not good between you, then don't force your children to do anything that they don't want to do.
Exactly. Exactly.
Because it's only going to wind up hurting or hindering them in the long run.
Yeah.
And
I want to
as
add to that.
adult,
too.
there were people that, it wasn't my uncle, but it was my cousin, that I had that same relationship that you had. I refused to go to his funeral because, 1, I thought that I was being hypocritical if I went. People knew that the relationship that we had. I felt, and 2, I felt like me going would just be me visually justifying that he was dead, and I knew he was dead. I had to be at work towards the end of his funeral. And and some of y'all on this, y'all know how Black funerals go. So I didn't think me riding the bus to downtown to go to work, anybody would see me. Well, as I was sitting at the bus stop, one of the church members saw me and was like, I'll give you a ride to work. And he was talking to me like, well, you should have been. I said, no, I should not have been at that funeral. Because first of all, the focus would have shifted to me. And even though he was the bane of my existence, and any of you all that understand comic books, you understand what bane is and what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, no. And you know how it is when people know that there's friction, they focus more on you than the person whose day it really is supposed to be about.
Yep.
Facts.
And I was like, I'm not going. There's no reason for me to go. And the whole ride, I spoke to this person and they finally got an understanding of why I didn't need to be there. And I was like, we've never really been in each other's life. They did one horrific thing to me that really just turned me off to them. I'm never going to be around you. And even after that, they kind of started a smear campaign because at the church, for those of you all don't know, my dad is the pastor of the church. Before my dad, his older brother was the pastor of the church. When his older brother was the pastor of the church, and I was in my early 20s, thought that if I made it to every church service, every church function, nobody would have anything to say about me. Yes, I know I was young and dumb. I get that. I've moved past that. But I was in charge of doing the announcements, and I would read a Bible verse before the announcements. But because at that time I had small children, so sometimes my kids couldn't all sit together. I have 4 children. They couldn't all sit together by themselves. So whatever child was fussy, I would pick them up and take them up to the podium with me. This man would criticize me for bringing a child up there with me. So what was I supposed to do? Let the child sit there and be fussy?
Yep.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Right. But I don't mean to get emotional, but God,
go ahead. Take your time.
They have transitioned to the ancestors. Brother and Sister Lee. And it was like clockwork. It didn't matter what time of the day, what day of the week it was. Every time I went to Walmart in my neighborhood, and we didn't even live in the same neighborhood, I ran into these people, and they would come into the church beaming with pride because they used to call my children little ducklings, because they were like, we would see her at the store. Aww. And she would pair her children up, and they would just walk around like little ducklings.
Oh.
I'm sorry, y'all.
No, you're good.
I'm sorry. I didn't expect.
Somebody get her a tissue.
Yeah, wifey. I'm sorry.
I didn't expect to tell this story, and I didn't expect to get this emotional. I'm so sorry.
You're good. You're good.
Where's Frenchie? Where's Frenchie at? Get her a tissue, Frenchie.
Frenchie.
They would come into the church beaming with pride over how well behaved my children were, and they would tell people, that's a good mother right there.
Oh,
well, duh.
And I was fresh off of a divorce. I was in my younger 20s. I thought that, and being raised in the church for so long, I thought that God had given up on me and everybody else had given up on me because I had gotten divorced. And
that lie needs to stop.
So, to hear elders in the church praise me.
No.
But my own family was like criticizing me. And we need to stop that. And like I said the other night, and D-Mac, you were there when I said it. We have to stop telling these kids from kindergarten to 12th grade that they can do any and everything. And then when they graduate after 12th grade and they want to do any and everything, we shame them for stepping out.
Yep.
Because I was one of those kids that was told, you can do anything, reach for the stars. Yep. And when I reached for the stars, I was abandoned.
Yeah,
even now, it's my friends. I love Chicken, D-Mac, Jessie Lee, my cousin Lizzie, Lady G, Lady Bird. Like there's so many more that if it wasn't for y'all, we wouldn't even be on this platform right now. Because I would have given up months ago and would have been like, I can't do this.
Mm.
And that's the truth. Because it was until I graduated high school. They didn't even wait for me to graduate college to then start putting doubt in my mind. You can't do this if you're not in corporate America. You can't do that. If you don't have this major, you're going to fail. I even recently had a conversation with a family member whose child hasn't even turned a year old, and they're already saying that they're only going to accept their child if they do this, if they follow this line, if they do, like what?
Like my dad shamed me in college because he was like a C plus average student when he went to college, right? When I went to college, 3.76 GPA, I was consistently on the dean's list. But because I was pursuing the same degree path basically that my dad did, he felt the need to tear me down because I did better than he did.
Stick a pin right there. I want you to talk about the rest of that there. Here's where I have a very, 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 very tattered issue. And I think you and Jesse were talking about it before, Taz. Now, I can only speak for my household. I cannot speak for anybody else's because everybody else's is different. Oh God, excuse me. Ever feel like you ate something and you just swallowed a hair? Ugh.
Yeah. Yep.
Ugh. I hate that.
Yeah. Ugh.
I'm not even going there with you because I was going to say something else. But go ahead. I digress.
Would you, wifey, mute yourself. Good girl. Mute yourself. Stay quiet.
But you guys had mentioned how, and now I'm gonna generalize and say in most all households, not just Black households, but I can speak from more of a Black perspective, whereas you, Chicken, can speak from your perspective about boys in white culture versus boys in Black culture. Now, I can't speak to that because I don't know, but I can speak for us. For the most part, I will say from what I've seen, especially from my older brother, you know, how he was raised with his mother, you know, the priority is they can only be raised as their parents had raised them. They're building on the same blocks.
Mm-hmm.
And you see it, even though they try hard not to raise them the same exact way, but they still wind up doing it even to the smallest minute detail. Because like, I don't know, like we were talking before with the Joy Luck Club, where she said she literally tried to raise her daughter in the complete opposite way that she was raised, and she still managed to this day to raise her the same way.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, it just bothers me that, you know, my mom treated us all in the same token. She did not play any favorites with us, and to this day my sister still says you favor the boys more than anything. I was just like, and we'll say to her, you get away with murder. And it's just like, my mom literally did not play favorites. That was not her thing, because she knew how it felt growing up with two brothers and five sisters. Five girls.
Oh, I can never.
Okay, I'm going to see your 5 girls and raise you 8 girls and 3 boys. That's the family I grew up in.
Yeah.
Oof. So, you know,
Had I stayed in my biological family, I would have been the youngest of 7.
No, Chicken is like
Yeah.
John and Kate plus 8.
oof.
Yeah, no, I'm the oldest of 11 children, all born to the same 2 parents.
Yeah, y'all don't know. And when I say John and Kate plus 8,
Yeah.
Chicken, you want to tell them, how'd you go to school, Chicken?
I was homeschooled from grades 2 to 12. My parents intentionally, our history and social sciences curriculums were from Bob Jones University and Abeka. If you all are listening and you know about those two colleges, they are conservative Christian colleges who consult the UDC on their curriculum.
So that's when people give
Oh
My
my
parents
as to why they're
intentionally
racist.
tried to raise all of us to be racist.
Yeah, so that's when people give excuses as to why they're racist. Because Chicken is my 20 twin. Y'all see why I have zero tolerance for their excuses.
Wow.
My parents sought this
Because how
curriculum
could she-
out of
And
hundreds of
Chicken
choices.
is one of the closest people to actually at this point, she is the closest person to me. She knows more about me than most other people. And y'all know how I am. And y'all know the walls that I have up. So if I can trust someone, and if she's not racist, nobody else has an excuse.
Fact.
No one.
Yeah, because like the conversation when my sisters and I were kind of getting old enough to date, my grandma, who was the queen of the microaggression, said, "You're going to find a nice white Irish Catholic boy to marry, right?" To which I responded, "No, Grandma, I am going to find a black man." I ended up marrying a Filipino man. Subsequently divorced him because of his actions, but that's a different story for a different day.
That's a horse of another color, as they say.
That's different. Yeah.
It had nothing to do with, this.
But I was like, I said, Grandma, you can't let the color of somebody's skin dictate to you the content of their character, and that's what's going to matter more.
Yeah.
And toward the end of her life, she kind of saw that. She never really let go of the microaggressions.
So
just like I said with my one grandma, and actually my daddy said it too. It's amazing how benevolent people get when they know they're getting close to meeting Jesus. Allah, Buddha, or a couple Hindu gods.
Yeah. Something about that. Well, I wanted to touch back on about telling your kid, forcing children to hug or show affection. I think what needs to change in every aspect is consent education needs to be taught, not just from the parents, but that also needs to be added on to the sex ed curriculum. And people need to understand. And I, as a preschool teacher, I started it with my 2-year-olds, and we would have conversation. I would have conversations with my class. I would be like, hey guys, if you want to give somebody a high five or a hug, or back then, Big Hero 6 was big. So it was like, fist bump, la la la. I'm like, if you want to do any of those things, make sure that you ask your friend. He said, because sometimes they might not want, a hug or any of those things. So you need to make sure that you ask them. It doesn't mean they don't like you. It just means they're not in the mood. And I made sure I taught my little ones consent early. And it was beautiful watching 2-year-olds be like, high five or hug. And then they say, or like one of them would, ask for a hug. And the other one would say, high five. And they say, okay. And they would, it's so simple. It's so simple and it's very effective. And it transfers on and up. But like in the family aspect, man, I will never forget. First and foremost, I'm an adoptee. For those of you who don't know, everybody knows parents are white. And I have always had guards up about showing affection to family members, mainly because I got bullied for it. I will never forget this day. I was 6 years old at the elementary school, kissed my mom goodbye. And a group of black kids came up to me and they were like, why'd you kiss that white lady? And I was like, because that's my mom. And they were like, that ain't your mama. That's a white lady. And I said, that's my mom. I'm adopted. And they said, well, you shouldn't be kissing her. And I said, and I stood up for myself. I was 6, standing up to these kids who were way older than me. And I said, that's my mom. And if I'm going to kiss my mom, I'm going to kiss my mom. They punched me in the face. I got a bloody nose.
Aww.
And it was that day that I stopped hugging and kissing my parents in public.
Also,
And hold on.
I 100% know that feeling. I didn't have a double adoption, but I did have a single parent adoption. And the man that I do the Daddy Chronicles on, that is a man that did the single adoption on me. And I wasn't bullied by people at school. I was bullied by people in my own family.
Mm-hmm.
Even to this day, right before we went into COVID lockdown, I lost a cousin from a tragic accident. It was a tragic accident. As we're preparing for his funeral, I received a phone call asking me not to show up to the funeral because I wasn't a real cousin. This young man was the best friend of my oldest son. This young man has always been at my house at least once a week. His mother is still to this day my favorite aunt. We're still very close. But one of my so-called cousins told me not to show up to the funeral because I wasn't a real cousin. That they were tired of me showing up. And they were tired of me tarnishing their name.
Please tell me you went.
Oh, honey, not only did I go, but I offered the ordination.
Thank you. Please.
Well done.
And I went in his favorite colors, and I went in some bad bitch heels, and I got my hair done, my nails done.
I was gonna say that kind of phone call only warrants showing up and showing out. It doesn't matter what the occasion is.
My feelings got hurt for a second, and Chicken will tell you, I might get hurt for a second. I may vent for a second. But baby, when you tell me I can't do something, watch me do it and watch me do it better than you ever thought that I could do it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And my thing is, as my brother, the one that's right up underneath me, we're a year apart, delivered the eulogy. I stood right next to him. Don't play with me. You understand me?
Understand. Oh man.
And it's funny because I have 2 cousins that are twins. One of the twins, their mother loves to brag about the fact that she's named after me. That cousin takes pride in being named after me. She tells people, like, shit, my cousin is doing the damn thing. I love carrying her name. Like, you can't tell her nothing. She's unstoppable.
That's awesome.
She's an amazing comedian. She's got her own YouTube thing.
Oh my God.
This girl is, you know that song, Sister is doing it for herself. She doing it. Like, that should be her theme song.
That's
great.
so cool.
Yay.
There's still people that look at me on that side of the family is that I'm not real enough until they get sick.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a problem. Then they call me, can you fix it? And I'm to the point where if you've disrespected me my entire life, because usually for a long time I would run. I mean, like, let me fix it, let me do it. Because I thought that would get me accepted. Now I'm like, no.
The breaks, man.
30 years with you dogging me.
Yeah.
You said I wasn't worth shit. You said I couldn't do shit. How am I going to fix shit for you? I thought I wasn't worth shit. Fix it for yourself.
Fact. Well, I wanted to finish my thought there. What I was saying about consent really is because after that moment that that happened, I stopped physical contact with my parents in public. I kept it in the home. And so my mom used to like walk me and my brother to the bus stop, and she would try to kiss us goodbye on the bus, and I would pull away from her. And I would be like, no, I don't want it. And she got angry with me, visibly angry with me, that I was not giving her the affection that she thought I wanted and that she expected as a parent. And that's the problem, is that we have to stop expecting that we are going to get physical attention from not only our own children, but our, nieces, nephews, and other adults, period.
And normalize asking.
Exactly.
Normalize asking,
like
one of the worst why they want to pull away.
One of the worst things that exists, like with this thing, is the shame aspect. I've been doing for the past 5 years, right before Thanksgiving, because you have Thanksgiving and then Christmas coming up. I do a big long post that says, you are not entitled to physical affection. You are not entitled to hug, kiss anybody in your family, and your children are not. And if you force them to do that, you are violating them. I'm like, what's the most beautiful thing is when, like, as a preschool teacher, when my kids out of nowhere just wanted to come over and give me a hug. They came on their own. They weren't forced to come over forced to come over and hug their friend or forced. One of the best things is when they just, like, even with my girls that I nanny, my little one, now when I walk in the door, she runs up to me and was like, and I'm just like, hey, yay. And, she wants to do that, and we set up boundaries, and her parents are really good at setting up boundaries too. They ask her, maybe have a hug, maybe have a kiss. And sometimes she'll say yes. And sometimes she'll say no. And they walk away and they say no. And it's really unfortunate because today I witnessed the grandparents. Grandparents are the worst. Grandparents are the worst when it comes to that. Because
not all of us.
Not all of them, but
because me and Tiny Muscolini.
I know.
Muscolini is touching her on the nose.
Stop getting defensive. That was a game. That was your game, and I witnessed that, and that was beautiful because while she has her words, what you could tell was that she was engaging in it. She was expecting it. So every time you would go in and kiss her nose, she'd do the ha 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 laugh, and then and
that's her boundary. You cannot go past her nose.
And then she would come back. She would come back for it.
So cannot go past her nose, and I'm fine with that.
So that was y'all's set up boundary, and that's something that you have to, you can't just go up and grab somebody. You can't do those types of things, and it's just like, and as well, if you like, one of the worst things that I had, I will never forget this. I was a kid. Soon after I got punched, it was like a few years later. My aunt, I didn't like kissing her. I did not like kissing my aunt. And I don't know what it was. I just did not like it. And it was say goodnight, give everybody a kiss. And I gave my mom a kiss, dad a kiss, grandma a kiss. And it came time for my aunt. And I was just like, no, I don't want to. And my aunt started fake crying.
I just love it when they play victim.
Oh, you won't give me a kiss. I want a kiss. And then my parents were like, look,
it's okay, chicken. It's okay.
You made your aunt sad. You made her sad because you won't give her a kiss. So as a child, I'm seeing somebody crying or showing tears. And then realizing that I was manipulated to doing something that I did not want to do. And I have been so angry about that since then. That it's just like, you cannot, you shamed somebody for not giving you what you wanted because you had this expectation that you are entitled to my affection just because what? I'm a cute little kid, child, your niece, your, whatever, your daughter. Mm-hmm. It's like, that's not okay. It's creepy, honestly.
To me, that's what creates victims.
Exactly.
When you force a child to do stuff, you force them to keep secrets from you because they feel obligated because this person is an adult and this person says that they are entitled to your affection. This is to me personally. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not a therapist. I'm saying from being a child, being a parent, and everything in between, to me, that creates victims because I know what it feels like to be a child. Just like you said, just you feel obligated. Now this person's like, oh, and then everybody's looking at you and like, you're like, oh, okay, I gotta hug you. And then what happens when the two of you are alone? You feel, oh, I gotta hug you. I gotta do this or you're gonna cry. And you're a child. You don't have the discernative capabilities.
Yeah, I associated no with shame. By me saying no to something that I didn't want to do, then I was shamed for saying no. And that is a horribly toxic thing that is ingrained in all of us. All of you, every single one of you on this panel shook your head yes, because you've all experienced something like that or you've seen it. That is a fucking problem. And there's probably most everybody on this panel who has been the victim of some type of assault.
Yeah,
And
that's
let
why
me
I
tell
let-
you how big a problem it is.
Go ahead.
that's
Yeah.
the tiny humans
Hold on,
that
Taz.
I let them vote on everything, and I get criticized for it, but I let them vote on everything.
Tess,
Wifey.
Reformed Chicken is talking.
Did y'all forget whose name is on this show?
Yes, darling, but
Yes,
you
we
interrupted Reformed Chicken.
Reformed Chicken with
I'm sorry. Did y'all?
Again, darling, we know
Again,
whose shows it is,
we
but
know
talking,
whose audience that is in
know
the
I'm at-
corner.
You
We
know
know who's
Y'all know I'm messing with y'all.
yes.
we know we're messing with you too when we say be quiet. Like
Like,
First of all,
when and where. When and where, wifey. I look forward to it. All right.
okay, so
You
Taz
nasty.
knows I'm writing a book. I'm
Congrats.
expounding on Audre Lorde's 1971 essay about the patriarchy and racism,
Nice.
and tying in my
Nice.
own experience with growing up in purity culture and how damaging that was.
I pray
In
for
the
you, darling.
research for my book, a lot of the assault that happens, especially to children, comes out of being conditioned to you have to hug so and so, you have to give them a kiss, you have to show them affection if they ask for it. Parents think it's innocent, but it is literally conditioning your child to comply with their abuser.
Yep.
And 90%, hear me, people, 90% of your abusers are a parent, an aunt or uncle, a grandparent, a cousin, a teacher, a coach, a pastor, a Sunday school teacher, a priest.
Yep.
It is a person of trust in that child's life
Mhm.
that is going to abuse them. So do not fall for these dog whistles when they say, oh, the alphabet mafia is going to come and abuse and traffic your children. No.
No.
Your family and your community are going to come and abuse and traffic your child.
Mm-hmm.
Adding on to that, I really, and I stress the word really, really, really want people to understand that, yes, on a grand scheme of things, it does not happen as often to males of all ages, but it still happens. And because of the utter stigma and because of the utter craziness that comes with all that entails, what happens? Just like with women, we don't report it because we don't feel that that's a comfortable thing to do.
Right.
And it just baffles me because we're just so scared. They're just so scared to literally, like, it happened with me. I'm not going to go into too much detail here because that's not what we're here for. But it happened with me, and I didn't tell my mom until I was 20 years old. That had happened to me when I was 5. Understand the distance that took me to actually get to that point, because I didn't feel comfortable. I felt that it would make me less of a man to explain to my mom what happened to me, that 1, I had no control over, and 2, because of the conditioning that we've had, that we have to no.
And you're ultimately told, if you do something that is very common too that I hear, is that children who do come forward about the abuse are told, immediately shamed, and said, you're ruining the family. This is
that stays behind closed doors.
They're told that they entice someone. They're enticing someone.
You're enticing.
That's why
Your
I get criticized for giving children a voice. Just like I've shared with you, D-Mac, about, and you, Chicken, that there were days of the week that I gave my children a round table to say what they wanted to say, even if they had criticisms towards me. Now, did it sting sometimes when they said things about me? Hell yeah. But I feel like it made me a better parent because I knew exactly what my children needed of me.
Mm-hmm.
If my children said, hey, I don't want to be around this person, I could have felt the greatest things about them. But guess what? You can't be around my children.
Fact.
They said they're not comfortable. And I let my children say it however they wanted to say it, just like we have this platform now, however you want to say it. And I even get criticized for letting the tiny humans vote on stuff here. We vote on what do you want for breakfast? What do you want for lunch? And like I said, I know the boundaries of each one of the 3 tiny humans. With Tiny Muscolini, even though she beats me up every day.
I saw she slapped you out of nowhere today.
She did. And she slapped me hard. It hurt, but I couldn't let her know it hurt. Like
your eyes did. Your eyes did. I saw your eyes. Ooh, it hurt.
Like that hurt.
It hurt.
But I know that her boundary for kisses is her nose and her nose only. It may change. It might be different tomorrow. It might be different next week. But right now, you can kiss her on the nose. Doesn't matter who you are. You be mommy, daddy, Gigi, G-Paw, big. It doesn't matter. She likes to be kissed on her nose. That's it. You can ask her for a hug. Sometimes she'll give you one. Sometimes she won't. Okay, no biggie. And some people ask why I refer to them as tiny humans, because that's what they are.
Mm-hmm.
In essence, that's what they are.
And I hate when people go, oh, well, they're just my grandkids, because when you put that, it's like you're giving yourself dominion over them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's
I don't have dominion over anyone. I never want to feel like I have dominion over anyone. I don't want anybody to think I have dominion over anyone.
Mm-hmm.
They are tiny humans. And even though Tiny Muscolini calls Chicken Auntie Big Booty.
No, she just calls me Aunt Booty.
Yeah, she calls her Aunt Booty.
She's so cute. She really is. I wanna babysit.
And like you said, okay, say something to Aunt Chicken. She literally said something.
Good job. Good girl.
Yeah,
This was
you
after she
want to
was-
babysit her till, you know.
She was going outside and saying, help.
Yeah, y'all,
Still cracks me up.
I took her this week. It's been nice. We've had decent weather where I am. Okay. So I tried to take her outside. Okay. I opened the door. I had just put her shoes on. I put my shoes on. I was grabbing a mask for me and her because there were no big kids at the playground. So I'm like, let's go. In case somebody comes up, we have our masks, right? She ran up. One of my neighbors, well, actually 3 of my neighbors were going to their cars because they work second shift. She starts screaming, help, help, and then starts giggling. This girl gonna get me under the prison.
Can I say something? Just
Yes.
a small something, just to lighten the mood.
Yes.
Now,
Lighter than my Gigi baby trying to send me to prison.
well, that's not light. She was trying to get you in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to get
So I want everyone to honestly notice this, because I think everyone has noticed this. But notice how your parents treated you, right? Notice that. You notice how they treated you.
People.
Now, you have children, and it's a completely different thing. They are so nice. They'll be like, "Oh, you need some money? Here you go. Some money. Here's some money for you. Some money for you." But when you was asking for money, you needed a job. You needed to do your chores. You needed to do this, that, and the third.
My daddy is a complete punk. I know y'all saw that video I put up on TikTok when I stitched somebody where they were like, what did nobody tell you about being an adult?
Yep.
Right now.
Yep.
And I said kids, and not the kids you gave birth to, the kids that you didn't expect, your motherfucking parents. You went from being raised to having to raise them. And y'all know I love daddy, but Lord, no. Pastor James used to bring the hammer down on us. Now all of a sudden he got 11 fucking excuses for his grandkids. Oh, and then the great grandkids. Oh, they can't do no motherfucking wrong. But if we breathe the wrong syllable, we was wrong. We didn't have to do nothing wrong. We could just breathe wrong. And he thought that we did something. Like, wait, why did you breathe like that? I don't.
Wait.
Like my nostril is.
Oh, that sounds like my grandpa.
That way. Well, you need a whooping. You on punishment. You're gonna be in the house for 6 to 11 months. But why? Oh, but like these precious grandbabies and great grandbabies, he's a fucking punk. He let them get away with everything. He got to get them money, snacks, go pick them up for shit. I couldn't even get a ride to work, and I worked 3 blocks
Spoiled. We get
now he
Yeah,
from
Tiny
Ohio.
Mussolini could get away with
to
murder.
take
He'd
these
be like,
just to go
"Oh
get
no, I'll
goddamn
buy
ice
her out."
cream. Fuck them all. Fuck them all. They get.
I'm just saying. Did you notice that? Like when you have kids,
I got trauma
your
now because of my
parents,
daddy.
your parents are literally totally different
No,
people.
I got trauma because of my daddy now.
I mean, they're totally different people.
I mean,
They're
I wasn't
totally
hard
different.
enough on my kids.
Well, they're not doing it anymore.
And I just looked at him like, how you gonna tell me I'm not hard enough on them? And you coming over here once a week, bringing little Debbie's and Oreos, getting them hopped up on some shit, and then you leaving with a smile on your motherfucker. Fuck you.
Yeah, because he knows the trigger high's coming.
Yeah, they leave you with the sugar high. They
And
spoil
then my
rotten.
papa was the worst. Mi abuelo, he drove a fresh Lincoln Continental until they stopped making the long, wide-body Lincoln Continentals. In his trunk was like a little Debbie surplus store, okay? He had everything in that bitch. He would roll up, not only on my house, but at my mama's house, because my mama used to watch my kids when I used to work in corporate America and drop off snacks there. And it took me like 3 years to realize this is what he was doing. I would get off work, go pick up the kids, and he would come. I'm gonna come see you, baby. I miss you. He would come in, get a cup of coffee. I would start cooking dinner. He would slide snacks into the fucking kids.
Yep.
These little fuckers had snacks hidden up underneath their goddamn bed. And you know what he told
Yep, my grandpa did that with us.
He was like,
Yeah,
well,
grandma
Mommy,
did that with me.
quiet. I come to your house for the drama. No, you come to my house to hop up the motherfucking kids and watch it. Fuck these grandparents. Well, not me, but the other ones.
I'm pretty sure your children would say the same to you.
Motherfuckers
Yeah.
calm as shit. But no, they come over here and they whoop my ass.
Again, you are in that category, darling, because I'm pretty sure your children would say the same to you.
No. There are 2 people on this live right now that will tell you I don't give these little motherfuckers shit. They come over here, they terrorize the fuck out of me. We're in an abusive relationship. I'm still trying to get a restraining order against these little motherfuckers, especially Tiny Mussolini. She's over here fucking me up. You don't understand.
It's
Yes,
toddler.
but hold on, Taz.
Her for me. Don't put me. This is you don't trigger my PTSD. You know that these kids come over here and be fucking me up.
Yeah, because
But,
Quacky,
tell them
but
they're
Taz,
grown men that are
Quacky
afraid of
tells
me.
Tiny
And they be like, I don't
Mussolini to
care.
put shoot up
no.
pretzel on Taz.
Taz.
No, I tell
Yes.
these grown ass men that are over 300 pounds that are afraid of me. You know what these little motherfuckers tell me? I didn't care. Let's fuck up Gigi.
So Taz,
You know, I think that the tiny humans may be the problem to racism. Let's just sick them on the KKK.
Exactly. I'm 2 seconds off of moving in with chicken. I can't take it no more. The
Well, I'm
last
probably
one
going to be a
smacked
homeowner
the
soon, so
shit out of me,
come
and I
on
almost
over.
forgot that I loved her today.
Oh.
Feeding her back into her mama's womb.
Hey, wifey, come on vacation. Come see me. You need a vacation. Come see me.
I just need to move because even when I come back off of vacation, my dumb ass is still gonna keep unlocking the door for him. That's the problem. Y'all laughing.
So you get
I'm
one of
in an
those
abusive
smart locks.
relationship with 3 tiny people.
So you get one of those Wi-Fi controlled smart locks that you need an app for, and you give me the access, and then when I hear it unlock, no, I'm locking that fucker back up.
Let's not forget, Tiny Muscolini figured out how to FaceTime me from her brother's iPad.
This is true.
I don't put
It's
anything past her. She's 1 year old, and she has figured out. I just send help. Don't put me in the category with other grandparents. Okay,
That's okay. My other nephew.
Okay.
I'm trying to stay alive.
Cairo
And
is not even
be
a year
stern with
old.
him, and they just look at me like, "Fuck you."
Cairo is not even a year old, and he has called us on video chat in group chat twice.
Okay, so as we're still talking about parenthood,
I'm traumatized, D-Mac. Don't put me in that category.
Okay, move on.
I can't.
Anyway, as we're still
Vietnam vet at this point, I'm about to start shaking.
Okay, as we're talking about parenthood, let's talk about this recent generation when it comes to parenthood.
Oh, these motherfuckers stupid.
No. We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. So with this generation that is coming up, and honestly, I do not know how we're going to survive if they're left to keep to look after us.
They're gonna unplug all the life support
pods. They stupid.
So you realize every generation before us has said the exact same thing.
Yeah,
okay?
But
yes,
let's be real. This is a never-ending cycle. I'm a millennial, and I already know that the fucking. I'm like, yeah, these Gen Zers, they ain't gonna do shit for me. Well, guess what? The boomers are saying about me. The boomers are saying, oh, they ain't gonna do shit.
Okay, first of all,
everybody said that. Just saying.
Right. Okay, you millennials, and then the ones after y'all.
What?
Y'all cute, but
I'm an elder
me and Chicken's
millennial.
generation ain't never had to have a warning put
technically,
on detergent.
I'm in Jesse's generation too.
Yeah, I'm a 93 baby. Yeah.
And I'm an 82. I'm an elder millennial.
I'm an 82. What you talking?
Well, goddamn.
Yeah, we're elder
I'm in my own generation. Let me say, did nobody have to put no warning on no detergent packets for us?
She's in Gen X.
We're the generation.
We didn't do Tide Pods. What did we do? What did we do in the 90s? I don't even know what we fucking did.
Actually, there were some millennials that were eating Tide Pods.
Well, you know what? They're the stupid younger millennials, not me.
So, but
after 93, they're stupid.
Let me explain something to you.
When the show Jackass was coming out.
Yeah,
Jackass.
My generation was the generation that our parents were like, these motherfuckers gonna be okay. We just gonna leave them alone. And we just had to. We were the parents. Like
we were left outside. You was like, go outside.
Yeah, go outside.
It's not even that we were left outside. We were the latchkey kids. We were the ones that, like, the oldest one raised the rest of them. I hate to say it, but we were that generation.
Yeah, my mom was basically
generation
just an
that never got a childhood. And a lot of people criticize us because, yes, we had children young and our children are now out of the house and we're living our best life because we're doing the things that we didn't do before. And I get criticized a lot when people are like, well, how did you not know about this? How did you not do this when you were younger? Bitch, I couldn't.
We were too busy.
Like, yes, my older brothers raised me. I raised my younger siblings and I raised a younger cousin. Like, this is my time to shine. So guess what? That's why I tell people when COVID is done, I'm doing a motherfucking world tour. You understand me? I'm coming to visit everybody. Even if I can only be with y'all for a day, I'm coming to visit everybody. I'm Jill Scott. In 2021, call my ass Jill Scott because I'm living my life like it's golden. Do you understand me? Yep. Because I've been waiting for this moment. What most people were able to do in their 20s, I had to wait to my 40s to be able to do.
Because it's like I'm saying with, okay, I hope everybody, probably not Jesse, and I'm sorry, it's my sweet angel. I love you. I'm serious. I mean this with all my heart. See, we know, me, Taz, Reformed Chicken, we know that, and I'll say this, and I hope you guys don't crucify me, please God. 'Cause I'm the only dude here today, and I have no help.
Come on, say what you want to say. You already said y'all understanding. I don't, so I'm gonna have to defend myself here.
So we know that Big Mama was, you did that. You see that line right there? You see that line? Don't you dare cross it. You
and
see,
actually, we talked about this earlier.
I was like, you see this grown folk conversation?
Yeah, physically, I'm not Big Mama. Mm-hmm. But how I try to live my life is in the light of Big Mama. And there are, yes, the tiny humans are generally here with me a lot. But as long as I got breath in my body, I personally don't trust daycares. And it's like, and yes, it can get challenging some days. Chicken and Jesse have seen me struggle some days trying to get my work done. And you've seen it too, D-Mac, while they're here. But I still wouldn't change it for anything. I might not be physically Big Mama, but I can still give you a damn good meal and I can watch some kids.
But
I just,
yeah. So so we all know that if the line was set, or if a grown folk conversation was happening, your butt is over there.
Mm-hmm.
This does not concern you. This is not about you. I may be talking about you, but that does not mean I want your opinion or anything like that, because it's a quick swat in the face if you come over here in this conversation that does not concern you.
Yeah, see, the oldest two understand that. It's just Tiny Mussolini. Jesus.
And I'm just like, we and see now, Big Mama now is like in her 30s, late 20s. And what does she know at this particular moment about giving advice to another woman who's in the same age?
D-Mac, because there's a lot of women, and here I've had this issue since my 20s.
Mm-hmm.
Let me say this.
Bitch.
I'm not even gonna say no shame, because if you feel shame on this, feel all of it, because I'm about to bring some truth.
Bring it.
From my 20s till now, if you were a grown ass woman and the day before a holiday you're able to be out in the club, fuck you. You were never raised in the kitchen with your grandma, with your mom. You don't give a damn about making a meal.
Nope.
If you want to go shake your ass, you the type of motherfucker that's going to show up in aluminum foil 6 plates to take it home so you can get through the week.
Fact.
You can't even bring the bag of ice. You can't even bring a pack of plastic spoons, forks, and knives. You can't even bring paper plates or napkins. Fuck you. I've never understand how a grown-ass woman is in the club or shaking her ass the day before a holiday, because you should be preparing something. Even if the meal isn't at your house and you going to somebody else's house. My mama told me the best thing you can do, because when you go visit somebody else, they may not make it the way that you make it. Make sure you got something at your house. And if you're making something to take to somebody else's house, make double, because when you make it at their house, you're going to like it and you're going to want it when you come home.
Fact.
And also make sure you never put in everything out.
Right. And you got all these women who decided from a young age they didn't want to be in the kitchen with Big Mama. They didn't want to be in the kitchen with Mama. They didn't want to be in the kitchen with Auntie. They didn't want to be in the kitchen with nobody. And right now they can't boil an egg, but they're the biggest ones on social media propelling memes talking about, well, if I can't cook, you asking what can I bring to the table? What can you bring to the table? Can you build a house? Bitch, we don't need houses built right now. This ain't 1922. What you bringing to the table?
Or 1860 or 1860.
And Jesse are bringing the table.
Fact. No, see, like for me, I didn't have a Big Mama because my grandmother was she
My
didn't
thing
cook.
is, all
didn't
three
cook
of us
either.
are bringing the table.
Yeah, no, and I, definitely, like, for me, my parents were not so much like trying to teach us the interest in what was going on in the house. They were very much like, what are your interests? They required both my brother and I to have one physical activity. So my brother did sports and I did dance for 14 years. So that's what we did. But on but my dad, he was he was a lawyer in Missouri for forever. He just recently retired. And he, worked all day. He would come home and he would cook dinner for everybody. And my dad was pretty much a chef. So, like, we were eating like homemade stromboli, we were eating filet mignon, we were eating everything. My dad learned how to do it. My dad's passion is cooking. He's an amazing cook. And I always loved his food. And so I remember being young, sitting in the kitchen and watching him cook. And as well, like, the kitchen was off to the side of the family room. So I could always see him in there, watch him and do all of that stuff. And then my parents got me a cooking book and things like that. And, I learned how to do it. I learned how to make an omelet before I knew how to scramble eggs, which doesn't make any fucking sense because omelets are way harder than scrambled eggs. And so it's like the fact that, like, I'm just like, yeah, I taught a lot of this. I'm pretty much self-taught when it comes to cooking, but as well, I watched my dad. I watched a lot of my friends. And I didn't grow up in the Black community, but as you know now, Taz, Jesse can make Black people mac and cheese now. No one would be saying, who made this? No one would be saying, who made this? I learned. I fucking learned. Why? Because
Jesse did learn a lot of survival techniques from going to Burning Man, y'all. She learned to burn.
Vacuum sealing. That's the fucking hack of the century for fucking Burning Man. That's the hack. You make it, you seal it, you freeze it. And then when you go out to the playa, you fucking either put it in boiling water or you cook it in a microwave if you have a fucking
boom.
And then, lo and behold, you're eating fucking mushu pork on playa. Now, granted, I don't eat pork, but I was eating Chinese food in the middle of the desert. And I was eating mac and cheese, and I was eating a tuna casserole that I had made. Not a tuna casserole, a noodle casserole that I had made.
I was doing lobster rolls at Burning Man because I had made the filling. Jesse, you know how we pack it and freeze it,
y'all? Yes, I do. Yes, the fuck I do. Hack of the fucking century.
Because I'm telling you, if you ever go to Burning Man, the first time you go, the second time you're ready to go, every time you make a bomb ass meal, trust me, you're saving part of that meal to take to Burning Man.
Okay.
Because when you're out in the middle of nowhere, you need something, especially when that dust storm hits.
That first storm that you survive, if you survive that first, you need a taste of home. So you can go back to your camp. You're like, where is that? Where's that cinnamon roll from Bread Co? Because we call it Bread Co out here. It's not Panera, it's Bread Co. It's St. Louis Bread Company. That is the OG name. Mm-hmm. St. Louis, born and fucking raised. It is Bread Co. Yeah. Don't give me that Panera. What the fuck is Panera? Panera.
I say it here, and people
that's the East Coast version.
Yeah, fuck that. It's St. Louis Bread Co.
What about Tarjay?
Oh, it can be Tarjay. Yeah, Tarjay.
Yes, Tarjay.
Tarjay is fancy. Fancy as
fuck. Okay.
If you have what does my cousin call it? A Starbucks in your Tarjay.
Oh yeah. Well, so,
okay.
High V's, which are Midwestern Iowa based grocery stores, and there's always a Starbucks in there. The one that I worked at did not have a Starbucks, it had a Caribou. And so I was in there, and this lady said, "Where's your Starbucks?" And I said, "We don't have Starbucks, but we have Caribou, and it's just as good." I lied because I'd never been to Starbucks and I had no fucking idea. And she's like, "I'll take your word for it." And I was like, "Fuck, I could just fuck the whole fucking business, couldn't I?" 2 seconds later, she comes back. She's like, "You were right." And I was like,
"Well, actually, Caribou is just."
I didn't know. I
don't want to mess up any future sponsorships for us, but
we said what we said.
I knew.
And I'm going to maintain that my homemade coffee drinks are better than both of those places.
Go ahead, girl.
there is a place. It doesn't exist anymore. It was a mom and pop place called Buffalo Mountain. And the owners were so gracious. Me and my kids' favorite drink was called a 90 Below. It was basically blended hot chocolate, like if you blended it with ice.
Mm-hmm.
But they taught me how to make it so I can make it at home.
Mm-hmm.
But
Out of body experience.
All of their coffee was better than Books.
Better than the books.
Better than the books.
Better
But
than
I will tell you that the Double D, I do know for a fact that they get the leftover everything after everybody else buys what they want as far as coffee beans. So I don't do the Double D. I mean, I do the Double D.
I have never gotten anything from the Double D.
Their
I mean, I
coffee's
do
gross.
Double D on people.
I've
But
heard it's not good. I've
It's
heard
gross.
that's what I've heard.
It's gross.
my thing is, after they started selling Trump donuts,
I mean,
Yeah, no.
I like the Books though. The Books is delicious.
I used to like the you
But-
could get like a little small box of like the donut holes, like an assortment of them. From the I used to like that, but then when I walked in and they had Trump donuts, oh fuck that shit.
Yeah.
So okay, so here's a question for everybody now. Notice how your parents like will go crazy with the first child, but like the first child, they're just like complete and utter mess
Yeah.
because they don't know what they're doing. But by the second one, they're just like, okay,
Yep.
we'll be all right.
Yep.
Then by the third one, they're just like, you know what, you can go over there. It's over there. You'll be fine.
Well, see, my
yeah.
parents were like that until they got to me because I was the first and only girl.
Yeah.
And then it's like they did a complete reset. And here's what happened. It was like
man, I'm gonna talk about this. Fuck.
0 to 16. It was like, oh my God, put boundaries up. Oh, pat this, pat. And then I turned 16. Then it was like, throw her to the world. And it was like all of a sudden, I was treated like I was a boy, and my brothers were treated like they were a girl in society. Excuse me. Excuse me. I can't stop coughing. Okay, I guess the universe doesn't want me to tell this story, but I'm gonna tell it anyway. I'm gonna push through.
All right.
And I'm not saying this to be stereotypical. I'm saying this because of how my parents treated me and the world that I grew up in at that time. We know that it's safer for men to be outside after dark, correct?
Yep.
Especially if you're waiting for a bus, walking, or whatever. When I first started taking computer classes, the place that I was taking computer classes at was not the safest place in Cincinnati, Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
I got out of class. The bus schedule that I had, I did not know was outdated. So I'm standing at the bus stop, standing. I noticed nobody else is around. So a friend of mine was like, hey, walk up to the next bus stop because you may catch another bus that can take you home that may cut through another route. I kept walking. I walked from the inner city to the suburb. I got home at 2 a.m. My class got out at 8:30. No one came looking for me. No one thought anything of it. I was the only girl in the family. But if my brothers were, one of my brothers failed all of the semesters and had to go to summer school, he couldn't possibly learn how to ride the bus to get to the school that he had to go to for summer school by himself. I had graduated high school. I had a car. I could have driven him. But my mom was like, no, teach him how to ride the bus. I don't even know. I still haven't mastered how to ride the bus. Like, I knew how to ride the bus to 2 places. Okay? Mm-hmm. 2 places. So I'm studying. I'm not the parent. I was responsible for getting him back and forth until he learned. And ironically, He did not learn that entire summer.
Why? When he had a
Guess who
free
had to-
ride.
Guess who had to quit their job because their parents wanted them to
Play chauffeur. I know
and
this
because
game.
when he had to go to summer
Yeah, I do too.
and when he got out,
Yeah.
I couldn't ask for any money because I was told you should have earned money. But the motherfucker who had to go to summer school that failed out because he could dribble a ball and still didn't get a college scholarship or even make it to the NBA got all the money he wanted. And the kid that was told to chauffeur him around that couldn't get any money is the only kid that they had that got a full ride to fucking college and now has a double master's.
You know, as a second child, as the only girl child, you know, because my parents adopted a boy and a girl. And, you know, I remember the day where I was looking at the home videos and I saw that there were 3 full tapes of my brother. And
Of course.
the 4th tape was mostly my brother. And then a sprinkle of me when I was 7 months old. Then I was 2. Then I was 5. And I was so angry. I remember going to Disney World with my family. I also remember going through the photo albums, all of the photos, and seeing box upon box upon box with my brother. They had taken him to the Grand Canyon and they had taken him to Disney World. And just so happened that in 3rd grade for me, like, we went to the Grand Canyon as well. We went to Disney World in the late 90s during the 25th anniversary. So the Cinderella Castle looked like a giant birthday cake. Yeah, I was at that. Like, and I remember going to my parents and just being like, what the fuck? Why is there so much of Chris and this much of me? And you know what my dad told me? My dad, who was born in 1954. And so he tells me, he's just like, you know what, Jess? I'm the youngest of 3. Okay? Your Aunt Bev and your Aunt Nancy, and then there's me. He's like, let me tell you something. He's like, your Aunt Bev has about 5 photo albums, all her. Your Aunt Nancy has about 2.5 photo albums, but, you know, Aunt Bev is in all of them. And me, I just have my name written down. And I was like, and that's I'm like,
So,
how is that supposed to make me feel better about this? And, you know, I remember those times where my mom would be like, oh, my baby's going to junior high. Oh, my baby. And I'd watch that and I'd be like, oh, I can't wait for my mom to be excited about when I go to junior high or when I go to 5th grade or anything like that. And it didn't happen. And I'd be like, where was that excitement? What? Because you've already done this, but it's a different experience because, one, I'm not the older brother. I'm the younger sister as well. I'm the one who takes after both of my parents because I was in the theater and all that stuff. So I thought that there would be at least some of that, you know, something.
And that's why I appreciated my mother. My mother made a big deal about all of our first days.
No,
my mother, it didn't matter where we went to school. She would drive. My mother, within herself, had a ritual. She had to have a picture with us on our first day of school. Didn't matter if it was elementary, middle school, college, whatever.
Oh, yeah. First day of school pic. Yep.
Because I remember, and I thought she was bullshitting. Because, you know, younger, you don't see your older siblings when they go off to college.
Right.
But when I went off to college, my mother was there. She drove me. I didn't even know she was there. Like, I walked out of my room. My mother was standing outside like, here. And she had my favorite little cheesy bagel with my veggie cream cheese on it. Like, here. And she walked me to class. She took a picture with me. And I do appreciate her for that. But as we wrap things up, can I get final thoughts from everybody? And I want to thank the entire panel for showing up tonight. Can we start with you, DMAC? Your final thoughts?
Sure. So I say this. if you have kids, please, please, please do not put any unnecessary pressure on them. It's going to literally wind up backfiring in the long run, because at the end of the day, once they reach a certain age, all that pressure that they either didn't deal with or didn't unpack or just pushed down and said they'll deal with it at a later time is just going to explode. And you and them are not going to be ready for it.
Yeah,
Very true.
that's true.
Chicken, your final thoughts?
My final thought is when your child tells you something, believe them. Don't side with people outside of the family over your child, because all it does is breed resentment and contempt. And then you end up with people who were like me. The slow roll downhill started with them siding with my ex-husband in the divorce. Then they picked racism, then they picked Trumpism, then they drank the Kool-Aid. And it got to the point where
Kool-Aid.
I said,
Love
you know
it.
what? You've picked so many things over me, to the point that you are still in contact with my ex-husband. And when I had cancer, you did not care for me. Somebody else did. So, you know what? Screw you, I'm out. That is the kind of situation you will wind up with. And all you will have to do is blame yourself.
Yep.
But you're going to end up blaming the kid.
And when they get old, they're on their own. We already have a pact. Jessie Lee.
First and foremost, no one is perfect. Parents, you're going to fuck up. You are going to fuck up. Point blank, period. And how you fuck up and how you handle that fuck up is important. You know, like we're talking with first child, second child. First child, you don't know what you're doing. You're figuring it out. Second child, you pretty much know what you're doing. Don't lose that new excitement. Even though it's a new child and you know you've been there, don't lose that excitement, because if the youngest, if the baby, even if you've had as many children as you've had, life is so new to them. They are new. They haven't been around like everybody else. And so them for the first time showing you a leaf, just because you were shown a leaf for the first time by however many children came before, it is still very precious to them. You fucking treat that leaf like it's the first time you've seen it, because it's the first moment that they've shared with you, and you need to treasure all of those moments with every single one. Make it special for each and every child that you have, because if you downplay that, like me as a second child, you will hold that resentment of you thinking that what you think is not as important. Something as simple as a leaf or a clover or even a dandelion that you for the first time. Those are important. Honor those and treat them, again, like they are new, because it is new to them.
Yeah. And Gemma, give me just a few seconds, Gemma. Give me just a few seconds.
She's like,
oh, let me just say this from the flip side of where Jessie is coming from. Because for me, with each of my children, and even with my precious Gigi babies, I know I've probably been shown 5,000 leaves. I'm allergic to dandelions, but I'm sure they've brought me 20 dozen bouquets of dandelions. Each child has done it in a different way. It's still exciting to me. You think I haven't played peekaboo with another child?
Right.
But Jessie got to watch me play peekaboo with excitement with a child today, and I was giggling with excitement like it was the first time, because it was her way of interpreting it. And when you can appreciate, and this is why I say, think of children as tiny humans, medium humans, big humans. That's how I interpret people. When you take the human out of them, you can't appreciate them.
Right.
Correct.
And for the love of God, and I mean this with all sincerity and respect,
Oh, excuse me.
family doesn't mean that blood connects you. And sometimes you have to create your own family.
That
You
part.
realize something
Yep.
isn't working for you or something is not beneficial to your mental health and your well-being,
Mm-hmm.
seek elsewhere. There's no shame in that. There's no harm in that.
Facts.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Conclude with saying thank you to my panel. I appreciate each and every one of you all. And as I always say, each one teach one, each one reach one, and we will see you all tomorrow. Wait a minute. Today is Thursday.
Yes.
Tomorrow
Yep.
is Freeform Friday.
Freeform Friday.
You know what's going to happen.
Oh, girl, I got some topics for you
Oh,
that we're
boy.
gonna get into.
Now I'm scared
Why are you scared?
Don't
Why are
be
you clutching
scared.
your invisible pearls?
because it's you.
Oh boy.
We always had her. No, I don't know if we should be on together, D-Mac, because remember what happened last time?
We did we cause any pearl clutching?
Yes.
I don't think
Yes,
so.
we did. We ganged up on her. The shade. The
Y'all told
shade.
me.
Oh,
Y'all
yeah, I
told me
forgot,
to go
I
off
forgot.
camera.
Yo,
so
y'all
y'all
got
can
our
take over.
epicness.
You threw the shade
I'm sorry.
flush
I
at
was
her?
trying not to remind her
Oh,
so
I'm
we didn't cause any PTSD. But
I've been getting shit from her for a week.
First of all, I deal with Tiny Muscolini every day. I already got PTSD.
There's
And y'all
no
be like, ah, she's
CTSD.
so cute.
I didn't say she was cute.
My ass.
Did I say she was cute? I don't think that word left my mouth. I'm just saying.
No, you did gather her, but she just gave you a side eye like,
Oh,
whatever.
she's precious.
She
She sang Baby Shark
girl,
to me. Cute.
girl.
I want to babysit. I do.
She did sing Baby Shark after Jessie turned her camera back on because she was like, Jessie, where?
Jessie, where? And I came back and she goes, Baby Shark, Baby Shark. It was so cute. Baby Shark.
We're working on her rhythm.
Just lots of that. Baby Shark, Baby Shark, Dad Dash Shark, Daddy Shark.
She ain't got no rhythm.
So cute. Oh my god, it was so precious. And the
It was
peekaboo
precious.
was hilarious.
Yeah.
Because she heard me. Yeah, she heard me say, if you stay under that blanket, you don't get no fries. She said she wanted them.
She wanted those fries.
And they were fresh too. We got
Right.
them from a Chinese restaurant.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because I wanted some wontons, okay? Don't judge me.
Ooh.
But
Okay.
hello, everybody. Thank you, Belle.
Yeah, no problem. Bye.